Let's now talk about the extruded cut feature, and for that I'll use the same drawing which we used for extrude feature. So here I'll start with sketch. So I'll go to sketch and sketch option and I'll select the top plane, and here I'll just make a big circle and exit the sketch environment. Alright, there we are. Now let's go to this features, and here we have the extruded cut feature. So this is kind of like opposite of extruded base boss feature. So in this case we are adding solid, however in the extruded cut feature we'll be removing the solid. So let's go to extruded cut, and as this object was already selected, this sketch was selected, it will use it as a reference and make the shape. Now currently it may look like it's still extruding it, but the things are a little different now. I'll grab this arrow and move it all the way up to this, and this is what we are going to get. But here, instead of making anything, it will just create a cut from here and also from here. So I'll maybe move it even further up, and that's what it's going to do. Now the options of this property manager in the cut extrude tool is exactly the same. It's kind of like the extruded boss base feature. So the way it works is exactly like the extruded feature. So here I will maybe activate draft, and I'll add a draft angle of close to 5 degrees, or maybe even 5 degree. All right, there it is. Now also I'll activate direction 2, and I'll make a cut in the second direction. So here also I'll just move it down, maybe slightly up to this point, or maybe a bit further, but not all the way through. Here it is. But if you want to, you can always go to this direction and select through all to make a completely clean cut. Maybe for the direction 1 we can select through all. So there it is. Not for direction 2, however. So there it is. Now if you want to flip the side which is going to be drafted here, you can just click here to draft it outward. So that's going to look like a clean simple shape, but let's just move it back to this. Also, if you want to convert it into thin feature, then click this option, and now it will be converted into thin feature, where the circle will be used as a reference and it will create this kind of shape. So that's what you'll get with a thin feature. So the options are almost similar. Now if you want to see the preview how your drawing is going to look like with this, then go to this preview option, and this is what the feature will look like. So here we have, just because of thin feature, it will create this kind of gap here, the gap here, here, and here. Now I don't want that, so I'll just cancel this out and I'll uncheck the thin feature, and I'll just make a clean cut like this. So with that I'll click OK, and here it is. It will just create the clean cut from this existing solid. Let's now press Ctrl Z to get back to the original one with the sketch, and once again I'll go to extruded cut feature. I'll select this, and now let's go to this thin feature and activate this. This time I will make a thin feature. So here I have selected this direction, and I'll leave this direction, though if you want to you can flip it just with a single click, but in this case let's keep this direction active. Now we have this here, and it will just create this kind of cut feature, but here we can maybe change the thickness. I'll just make it 5 exactly. So there it is, 5 unit. And now with that I think we are okay with this. So it will cut this, it will cut this feature as well. But now look at this, it is going all the way through this. Now if you just want to cut your object only up to this plane, then don't make it kind of like this. So just ensure that you are using design intent in a proper way. For example, in this case I will show you how changing the direction parameter will change the way your drawing behaves. So in the first situation I'll just move it back to this, and maybe ever so slightly here. All right, so that it just moves slightly beyond that point. So there it is, and now with that I'll click OK. All right, and also I'll click OK again. So it will make this kind of cut which is completely clean all the way through this. But if you now change the sketch here for this drawing, which I'll do using this boss extrude feature, I'll expand it, I'll go to its sketch and edit, and if I increase the height here and exit this, then this is going to happen. So now there is no clean cut here because it will just cut it only up to the point we specified. If, however, we change that, so let me press Ctrl Z a couple of times so that we are back to this. And here I'll just go to cut extrude and edit feature. And now instead of adding this height, I will change the parameter. So I'll go to this parameter and I'll select through all. Or you can also select up to surface and select the surface, but here through all will make more sense. Now with that, I'll click OK and OK again. And this also looks exactly like the same drawing, right? We have the cut here and here also. So apparently there is no difference, but when you now go to the main sketch, which is this one, and modify this, and now even if you increase the height, no matter how much you increase that, it will respect that design intent and it will make a completely clean cut all the way through, because that's what we specified using through all option. And that's the reason why you should always keep design intent in mind whenever designing anything in SolidWorks, so that even after you make changes, the changes are honored for all the parts and features that you add later on. And that's all about extruded cut feature.